My name's Mark Burry. I'm the executive officer and business manager of the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 467 here in San Mateo County. On behalf of my constituents in the San Mateo Central Labor Council, the San Mateo County Building and Construction Trades Council, and the more than 1,300 members of this local Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union, I'm honored to welcome you here tonight. It's exciting to see our facility, our hall and apprenticeship training center packed with all of you who are very civically engaged San Mateo County residents, and it is my honor to introduce to you the president of the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors, who will present to you tonight the 2018 San Mateo County, the State of the County Address. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Dave Pine.
Thanks, Mark. You're going to take that? Okay. Well, welcome everyone to this evening's State of the County presentation. You know, in years past at the Progress Seminar, the board president had an opportunity to give some remarks about the state of the county. But I think this is the first time that I'm aware of where we've had a standalone event, much like the cities, where they have the state of the city. So I'm excited that we are live streaming this event. My colleague Warren Slocum would be pleased, since he's so tech-focused. We're also live on Penn TV. So, you know, wave to your family if you like. If you haven't had the time, we do have some tables out in the lobby showcasing some of our initiatives, and you can check those out. So I'd like to begin with introducing my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors. So with us tonight is Supervisor Dave Canova, Supervisor Don Horsley, and Supervisor Warren Slocum. It's a round of applause for I think the hardest working supervisor, Supervisor Groom, is on vacation and can't join us tonight. But it's a real pleasure serving with my colleagues. And I'm just so impressed by, you know, what you do day in, day out to make this county better. So we're a great team, and again, it's a privilege. And also, I'd like to make special recognition of our county manager, John Maltby. So as many of you know, John is retiring on November 1st. And that is after serving this county for 25 years. And I think there is no finer public servant in the state of California than John Maltby. Every resident of this county, John, is indebted to you for your stewardship of the county through good times and bad times. And John believes that public service is a noble calling, that government is important, that we have a moral obligation to help those who are less fortunate. And his record here in the county reflects those values. And I feel privileged to have worked with him during my tenure on the board. So thank you, John. So some thank yous. This has been a complicated event to organize, and many thanks to Mark and the plumbers for opening up the hall this evening. My staff has worked extremely hard on this and have assisted me ably on so many projects in my office, and they are David Bruto, Linda Wolin, Randy Trios, and Michael Barber. The refreshments are brought to you tonight by the county's Vocational Rehabilitation Center. And then finally, thanks to our communication team in the county, consisting of Michelle Duran, Marshall Wilson, Eric Fogard, Krista Bigu, they've, again, been incredibly helpful in getting this organized. And last, don't believe she's here, Julie Goebel is our graphics specialist at the county, works actually in the Human Resources Division, but she has put together a PowerPoint that I think you're really gonna enjoy. All I can do is 12 font, Word. She can do a lot more. So we're incredibly lucky to live in this extraordinary place, San Mateo County, particularly during a time of great prosperity. In fact, I really think this is the golden age of San Mateo County. County government now has a capital and operating budget of nearly $3 billion and 5,500 employees. And we work hard to serve the 760,000 residents of the county. And we're just so fortunate to have such a diverse population. More than a third of our residents were born outside of the country. And of course, dozens and dozens of languages are spoken here. We're very well educated. We have some of the best schools in the state. 6 of the top 100 public high schools are here. And then of course, our economy is just on fire. Right now, unemployment is the lowest in the state here in San Mateo County at 2.3%. It's probably closer to 0, but it's extraordinary. Our per capita income is second highest in the state and amongst the highest in the country. And then we have this incredibly generous electorate that does things like passes Measure A and K, which provides the county with a supplemental $80 million plus a year. They also support our cities and schools with local measures. They support regional measures such as Measure AA that funds tidal wetland restoration, a project I'm involved in, as well as transit taxes. So lots of good things going on. But for many in the county, it's not the golden age, it's more the gilded age. It's characterized by rising income inequality. A family of 4 making $90,000 living almost any place in the country would be doing pretty well. But here, right, we know that you struggle to make it. Over 100,000 of our citizens receive health care through the Medi-Cal program, which has very demanding standards to qualify based on your income. And 1 out of 3 of our kids in our public schools qualify for free and reduced lunch. So not everyone is enjoying the fruits of this boom. And then we have these other challenges coming forward. The federal threat on affordable health care and the expansion of Medicaid. In particular, one of the biggest operation the county runs is our public health system. And the revenue streams from the federal government are either flat or declining, while of course the cost of delivering health care constantly goes up, leading us to what we foresee as a $25 to $50 million shortfall in that area. And then how long can this boom last, right? It's one of the longest in history, 10 years plus. And some see, storm clouds in the future. But regardless of what the future brings, San Mateo County will always remain committed to its mission of first, supporting comprehensive health system for people who can't get health care elsewhere, providing public safety through our sheriff's office, our DA, our correctional facilities, our emergency dispatch center, our partnership with CAL FIRE. We provide municipal services for 70,000 of our residents who do not live in a city. They live in unincorporated areas. And we deliver, usually on behalf of the state, critical human health services or human social services like welfare and food assistance. And one, of course, that we're so proud of is our Big Lift program, where the county is making investments to improve third grade literacy by promoting more preschool opportunities and summer programs and parent engagement. So I could talk at length about the multitude of things that we do, but what I think I'll do instead is just focus on four issues. The first 2 are the ones that are top of mind for everyone in public office and I think for all our residents, and those are housing and transit. And the second 2 are areas where I've spent a lot of my time, energy and sustainability and sea level rise. I think there's no question that the county is making great progress against these big issues. And I attribute that really, I think, to two big factors. One is we really have we're really in an enviable position to have the financial strength that we do. With this booming economy and the property tax base and Measure K, we are, unlike many counties, in a position where we really can try to tackle problems that can appear intractable. So that is in our benefit. And then secondly, I'm proud of the county's leadership role in recognizing that these problems cross jurisdictions and can't be addressed city by city. So we've worked hard over the years to convene and collaborate with our city partners in a whole variety of ways, and I'll touch on some of those in my remarks here. So let's start with housing. I'm fortunate to have served now in elected office, I can't believe it, for 15 years. And every one of those years, like housing, it's terrible. The cost, how can anyone afford to live here? So, we've heard that forever. And we all know what the challenge is. And of course, now we're in a period where these costs have gone to exponential levels. The job boom, the housing development can't remotely keep up with the job boom. People have to commute long distances and are faced with these extraordinary high costs of housing. And I think all of us have friends and family and neighbors that they've moved away because it's just become too much. But things are changing in the right direction in San Mateo County, and I'd like to take some time to go over that. So the Board of Supervisors, since 2013, has invested approximately $115 million to try to increase the supply of affordable housing in this county. And I think it's helpful just to step back and put that in perspective. In the 6 years, in earlier times, prior to 2013, we had very modest funds from federal government programs such as community development block grants and home funds. But from 2007 to 2012, that was under $3 million a year. So we've exponentially increased our focus on housing. And how is that? It's largely thanks to Measure K that we can make these type of investments. So what are we doing with the money? First and foremost, we've created an affordable housing fund where approximately $100 million has been invested since 2013 to support a whole variety of housing solutions, including solutions for seniors and for veterans. And so not only is this investment really meaningful in itself, in its size and scope, but it's also sparked interest from partners in the nonprofit building arena and with our cities. It's money that has been leveraged very successfully. So we can talk about the dollars and the statistics, but what's really important is how has this affected real people in San Mateo. So let's show a couple of examples. So no one expects to become homeless, but that's what happened to Myrna and her 3 school-aged children, and we'll hear from her.
Never in a million years would I imagine that someone like me would have been homeless. I ended up getting married and then ended up getting a divorce, and me and my 3 children ended up in a shelter, a homeless shelter. It was a shock because I grew up in San Mateo County, went to schools in San Mateo County, had a thriving business. Where I'm living in Swaney Lane, I'm able to come home at a reasonable time, be able to cook dinner with my children, be able to spend time with them, be able to bond with them. And affordable housing has allowed me to do this.
So if Myrna represents the plight of working people in the county, this next story shows how the county has invested in developing supportive housing for the most vulnerable people in our community. So let me introduce you to Kirk. He ran a successful small business and ran into hard times and became homeless.
Broke my back, about 10 years ago, and life kind of fell apart. Got diagnosed bipolar. I never knew I had that. I was actually to the point to where I was laying on the top of my grave. I was, you know, I've had it, you know, from being really successful to being on the street. Things just started going up. It was weird, you know. Instead of falling down the stairs, I started to get, you know, step here. I have a TV, you know, I have my own bathroom, I have my own refrigerator. You don't understand what it was like not having that stuff. It was terrible.
You know, so sometimes when we talk about creating affordable housing, you know, it seems so daunting. Well, what difference does it make to create a couple hundred units? I think these, you know, folks show you why it makes a really big difference. So in addition to our affordable housing fund, we've invested in housing in a variety of other ways. We created a rental housing preservation fund. I mean, not only do we want to create more affordable housing, but you know, we want to try to hold on to that affordable housing we currently have. Under the leadership of Supervisor Horsley, we allocated $1 million to provide housing for farm labor workers, right? We all love to go to the coast side and enjoy the agricultural environment, but we need people to work and they need a place to live. We've been partnered with HIP Housing to promote home sharing, which you know, is a very low-cost way to find people good places to live, to pair people with larger homes with renters. So we invested about $650,000 to promote that program. And we'll turn to another video of Marilla, who benefited from this effort.
It feels nice to have your tenants say how happy they are in their house. And I always want to make them feel good because I want this good energy to stay. As I feel like this is my home, I want them to feel like this is their home. And it's been like that every tenant that I got. In looking back 15 years ago when I was a single mom, so scared to have someone live in our home, in our space, it's been great. My son now is 18. He's been eyeing the room downstairs, but I don't think he's gonna get it because it's nice to have that extra income to help me with, you know, with all the expenses. It's a great program for someone that can consider helping the community and helping someone stay in this beautiful area that we have.
And in a final example of the county's leadership on housing is we launched the Home for All initiative. And I know many people in this room have been involved in that. And that is a collaboration of local governments, businesses, schools, developers, nonprofits, all coming together to share best practices to produce and preserve housing for all income levels. And perhaps most importantly, to try to educate the people in our communities about the importance of housing and the need for more density in San Mateo County. So one thing I particularly am excited about with Home for All is our second unit resource center. You know, second units or accessory dwelling units or granny units as they're called, it's a really powerful way to create housing where, particularly in our county, 2/3 of the homes in our county are single-family homes. So to the extent that we can promote these secondary units on those properties, it can make a big difference, as it has done in places like Seattle and Portland. And we have a video on this as well. We'll hear from Jeannie.
And there were 2 houses already on the lot, and a garage, which was not in good shape. We did not change the footprint of either house, but we added a new 3-car garage with a master suite and office above it. It's been really wonderful because I love being 40 feet out the back door of my grandsons and son and daughter-in-law. At the same time, I feel like I live in a park.
Building second units can help to address our housing challenges in San Mateo County by offering an affordable housing solution for school teachers, firefighters, and other community members who otherwise may have to commute long distances.
So in summary, I'm really proud of the work the county has done to produce more housing. You know, the work that David and Don and Warren and John and so many in this room have done, you know, step by step. But to conclude, since 2013, the county has funded almost 1,900 new units and preserved 255 additional units. So, you know, has that changed the supply and demand equation that drives our costs up? No, of course not. But again, it's benefited real people, perhaps 5,000 people who can now fill critical jobs in our community and contribute to the quality of life in our community. Okay, moving on to another topic where no one is necessarily moving, and that is transportation. So county government is involved in transportation in two ways. First, members of the Board of Supervisors serve on the various transit boards, both in the county and regionally. I'm fortunate to serve on the Caltrain board and the SamTrans board. And also with Measure A, the county actually made some direct investments in SamTrans to help the paratransit program, which is really important to our lower income residents. And then finally, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, the county partnered with SamTrans to bring forward Measure W. So more on that later, but now we're going to go back to the video. It's no secret that traffic is getting worse in the Bay Area, and San Mateo County is no exception. So what are we doing about it? We're doing a lot. Thanks to our representatives in Sacramento, San Mateo County will benefit greatly from Senate Bill 1. In our county, SB 1 will fund a number of critical infrastructure investments. For example, over $21 million will go to fix potholes and improve safety on our local roads. Over $160 million will upgrade and improve our Caltrain service. About $4.5 million will help us with bike, pedestrian, and safe route to school programs. And perhaps most importantly, $250 million will address congestion on US 101 by supporting our managed lanes project. The benefits: less commute time, more throughput, and less pollution. But that's not all. We're also electrifying and improving Caltrain. An electrified Caltrain will allow for more frequent trains that carry more passengers, more bikes, reduce fuel costs, and improve reliability. Electrification is on pace to be completed by 2022. In fact, look at those beautiful overhead catenary systems already installed. And yes, rest assured, electrical outlets will be provided underneath the seats for riders to charge their phones, laptops, and other electronic devices. Here comes the train! In February 2016, SamTrans initiated the Dunbarton Transportation Corridor Study to look at ways to improve the throughput on the Dunbarton Corridor, which connects Alameda County with San Mateo County and Santa Clara County. This study evaluates the existing Dunbarton Bridge and looks at express bus service. It also evaluates rehabilitating and repurposing the old Dunbarton Rail Bridge for potential passenger rail service. So how is this all going to happen? Is it even possible? Well, there's big news there. In June of this year, SamTrans announced an agreement with Facebook and the Plenary Group to look into a public-private partnership to move these projects forward. So it will take a lot of time and a lot of money to get this done, but the future's never been brighter for the Dunbarton Corridor. But wait, there's more. We're also investing in our bus system. This year, SamTrans purchased 10 electric buses from Burlingame-based Proterra, which we could walk to from here. And SamTrans is committed to never buying another diesel-powered bus and plans to phase in a complete electric fleet. SamTrans is also now offering a new mobile app. Yes, in 2018, we have a new mobile app. And this allows riders to buy tickets and see real-time arrival and departure information for trips. San Mateo County is also investing heavily in bike and pedestrian mobility. I should adjourn here. So today, Caltrain carries, this is an interesting factoid, more bikes on board than any other rail system west of the Mississippi, and is studying ways to provide more bike access to its stations. There's been an explosion of bike options, such as the Lime bikes, the new dockless bikes, which we see all over the county. There's plans afoot to improve bike connections on the bay and on the coast. And SamTrans is also exploring a multi-use trail that would connect downtown Redwood City to North Fair Oaks, Menlo Park, and finally the Dunbarton Bridge. So we have big transportation plans and projects underway, as we've seen in these videos. But to get it all done, we need more funding. And critical to that is the passage of Measure W, which is on the ballot here in 2 weeks. So this is a really unique ballot measure because it was developed and placed on the ballot by both SamTrans and the Board of Supervisors. It's a half-cent sales tax. It will generate over $80 million a year. Of course, it needs a 2/3 vote, so we will need your support to get that one over the finish line. So I next want to move to energy and sustainability. Climate change is an enormous challenge for the world. You know, the just released IPCC report sounded an alarm. It states that if we don't take immediate action, we'll fail to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And once we start going over those thresholds, the environmental change will be dramatic. Sea level rise will be much more significant than we're preparing for. The loss of species will be exponential. Food chains will be disrupted. We need to listen to the IPCC and as a global community take action. So here in our county, you know, it's 750,000 people. We can't solve the world's problem, but we can lead by example, and I think we're doing that. First off, we formed the Office of Sustainability back in 2014, which is dedicated to climate change, waste reduction, energy and water conservation, commute alternatives, and a host of other initiatives. And also, it's kind of turned into a bit of an incubator for some other programs that are now flourishing, and I'll speak to those. Peninsula Clean Energy, our green building policy, and Sea Change SMC. So PCE, I hope you're all familiar with it, but let me just go over some of the basics. Peninsula Clean Energy is a community choice energy program that provides much cleaner energy at lower costs to our residents. And we formed PCE through creating a joint powers authority with all 20 cities in the county. And remarkably, during the formation of PCE, not a single city council member, voted against the formation of this new program. Okay. What PCE does is it purchases cleaner electricity on behalf of our ratepayers, and PG&E delivers that energy, and you are billed through your standard PG&E bill. So we buy energy from existing generators, solar, wind, hydroelectric, but we also are creating new renewable energy resources that didn't exist before. In fact, thanks to PCE, just 2 weeks ago, the largest solar installation ever financed by a community choice energy program broke ground in Merced. And that's a 200 megawatt solar plant that will come online by the end of 2019 and generate enough energy to power 100,000 homes in San Mateo County. And this is exactly what we envisioned in creating Peninsula Clean Energy, is create more demand for renewable energy, and we're seeing those results. So with PCE, every ratepayer now has cleaner energy, and there's two options. The standard offering is called Eco Plus, which is 85% greenhouse gas free and about 5% less expensive than normal PG&E power. Or for a small premium, you can opt up to 100% renewable energy. And we're very happy that 15 of our 20 cities plus the county have done just that. So in San Mateo County, 2/3 of our energy load is actually from the commercial sector. So it's been really important that PCE appeal to businesses, the big ones and the small ones. So far, we've done very well with our business customers. And I'd like to show you a video now from Guitard, a 5th-generation family-owned business making chocolate right here in Burlingame, and again, located just down the street. And Guitard is an Eco Plus customer.
My name is John Kehoe. I'm Director of Sustainability for Guitard Chocolate. And as a family-owned chocolate company for 5 generations, a lot of our work in sustainability focuses on cocoa producers. And a lot of the work we do is in West Africa and South America and all over the world. And Peninsula Clean Energy gives us the opportunity to work and support our environmental impact locally. It's always important to be efficient in any business that you're in. And chocolate is an energy-intensive business, grinding, refining. So reducing our energy usage is critically important. The fact that we're able to do so with Peninsula Clean Energy gives us the opportunity to have a smaller carbon footprint, not just from using less energy, but using cleaner energy.
I could smell the chocolate coming in today. And some of our commercial customers have opted up to our Eco 100 program, our 100% renewable program. Those include Facebook and Visa. But some of our smaller companies have too, such as the locally owned food business here in Burlingame called Sera Sera.
Yeah, another thing that's really popular is our almond milk smoothies. So we make our own almond milk. My name's Carrie Bittner, and I own Sera Sera. Sera Sera is a raw, primarily vegan cafe. I'm really passionate about using diet for both improving customers' health and well-being, and also for the well-being of the planet. My business is small, but I still feel like everything makes a difference, and the more people that sign on to Peninsula Clean Energy, the bigger the demand will be for 100% renewable energy.
"100% renewable smoothie" right there. Get that in a moment. So I hope you've noticed that Burlingame is kind of a culinary center with Guitard and Sera Sera. So in any event, in the first year of our full operation, PCE reduced greenhouse gas emissions by 261 million pounds, which is the equivalent of limiting 13 million gallons of gasoline. So it's again, making a big difference. And what's also great about PCE is that we don't have shareholders, so we don't have to earn a profit. So when our revenue exceeds our costs, which it has, we can reinvest that money into other programs to promote sustainability and to reduce carbon emissions. So as an example, recently PCE launched an electric vehicle incentive program where PCE will provide discounts for the Nissan Leaf or the Chevy Volt and Bolt. So you can watch here as I test drive this new CHG saving vehicle. It's a historic moment. I'm driving an electric vehicle.
Let's do this.
Yeah. EV on the way. So finally, in the vein of sustainability, I wanted to speak briefly about our municipal green building policy. So the county is in the midst of the most significant capital construction project in its history by far. We're investing upwards of $600 million to build a new regional operations center for emergency dispatch, a state-of-the-art medical center, refurbishing the one in San Mateo, a new county office building with a parking garage, a complete replacement of our Cordilleras mental health facility, a number of new fire stations, and other projects. So, a once-in-a-century investment in infrastructure, gives us this once-in-a-century opportunity to incorporate, the most cutting-edge sustainability standards. And we've done that by adopting a very aggressive municipal green building policy. So it requires that all county buildings be LEED certified. It sets out aggressive energy efficiency standards, and it strives for net zero energy, which means that the energy required to operate the building will be generated from on-site or adjacent renewable resources. Our new government center building, which is we refer to as COB3, will be a model for what state-of-the-art C&E buildings will look like. But let's take a close look at our San Mateo County Medical Center, which will illustrate some of the sustainability provisions we've added. This will include natural ventilation, solar shading, EV charging, bioretention, radiant flooring, rooftop solar, and what's coolest of all is automatic window shades. All that, again, to make our buildings as green as we possibly can. So my last area of focus I wanted to speak to tonight was sea level rise, something I've been engaged in for a number of years now. San Mateo County faces real threats today from coastal erosion and from potential storm events. And we're very, very vulnerable to sea level rise because of our historic building patterns where we built well into the bay, and like the airport and Foster City and Redwood Shores. So, the numbers are scary. A meter of sea level rise, which will likely occur by the turn of this century, coupled with a major 1% storm, that is calculated to create $34 billion of damage to property in this county. And because the number's so big, we are considered really ground zero for sea level rise risk in the state. Everything is at risk. So, researchers are constantly trying to predict, what the future will hold. Unfortunately, the science always seems to suggest things will be worse than we think. But I think there's a consensus that we'll see at least 3 feet of sea level rise by the turn of the century. So we are grappling with that in a variety of ways. We established an internal effort within our Office of Sustainability called Sea Change San Mateo County. The first thing we did was conduct a really very comprehensive vulnerability assessment of the Bay Shore and the coast side from Half Moon Bay north. We've also engaged in extensive outreach and education. One particular program which has, I think, been powerful is to talk to young people about sea level rise through a program called Youth Exploring Sea Level Rise. Because these young folks, they're going to be here in 2100, and they're going to see a really different world. So when I speak to this topic, sometimes people just hear all the bad news. But I also think it's important for everyone to understand that there are real projects happening in the planning cycle today. These maps will show projects that are either planned or in development. I won't discuss all of them. But a couple that jump out, of course, are the Foster City levee system, where the city was facing pressure from FEMA and went ahead and passed a bond to increase their levee system to protect against 2050 sea level rise with adaptive capacity for later. SFO is investing considerable funds in preparing for sea level rise. In a project I'm engaged in the southern part of the county called Safer Bay, which would be a series of levees and wetlands from Palo Alto up to Redwood City. In addition, the county it made a substantial investment in trying to attack portions of the Bay Shore where we have some unincorporated lands and where there's been kind of historic flooding challenges. So specifically, the Bayfront Canal in Redwood City is an area that floods under even relatively minor storm events. What the county, through this program, its flood resiliency program, entered into an MOU with Redwood City, Atherton, Menlo Park in the county to begin to address that. We face similar cross-jurisdictional issues in the Belmont Creek, where the county, under this program, entered into an MOU to begin to work on that area. And a third example is up in South San Francisco, the Navigable Slough, not exactly the Mississippi, but it is an area that is prone to flooding that affects San Bruno and South City, and where the county has some flood control responsibility. And a fourth example of the county's work here is we are, through some grant funding, which we were able to procure, are implementing a flood monitoring and emergency system throughout San Mateo. So let me wrap up. You know, I've talked about some big problems today: housing, transportation, energy and sustainability, sea level rise. These are the type of challenges that they're not going to go away anytime soon. They're going to take decades to address. But I hope you've seen through this presentation that San Mateo County is not shying away from these challenges, that we have made real and tangible progress, and that because of our financial resources and the culture of collaboration we have in this county, much more will be achieved in the years ahead. So I really thank you for coming. Enjoy all the refreshments and the good company. Thank you.